Magic Ruler was released on September 16th, 2002. What's interesting about this set is that it's believed that there was a legal dispute between Upper Deck and Wizards of the Coast regarding the use of the word magic when it came to marketing their respective games. As a result, Magic Ruler was quickly renamed to Spell Ruler and Magic cards became Spell cards. Magic Ruler introduced over 100 new cards into the card pool, including new types of cards such as Ritual Monsters, Ritual Spell cards, and Quick Play Spell cards. It also debuted one of the most iconic Duelist Kingdom archetypes, Toons. However, the most notable aspect of Magic Ruler was the powerful selection of spell cards that would terrorize the format. Confiscation and the Forceful Sentry both allow you to look at your opponent's hand and remove a card by either sending it to the graveyard or shuffling it back into the deck, respectively. Delinquent Duo rips 2 cards out of your opponent's hand, making it essentially a reverse Pot of Greed. Snatch Steal was an equipped spell equivalent of Change of Heart, and Giant Trunade was another alternative to Heavy Storm for dealing with back row. You know a set is iconic when a handful of its cards are still banned to this day, but there was a small window in time where all of these cards were legal at 3 copies. In this series, both MBT and myself will be traversing the sands of Yu-Gi-Oh's history. Each episode will take a deep dive into Yu-Gi-Oh's past formats and unlock new strategies as new sets become available. Strap yourselves in because anything is possible. Welcome to the history of Yu-Gi-Oh!
Well folks, we'll start with a bit of bad news. I've lost my mechanical chasers. I fell behind on rental payments, the repo man came to repossess them, we got into a little bit of a verbal argument as he said that Yugi tubing wasn't a stable career choice, and long story short, they broke my foot and I am 1/1850 beater fewer. But no matter, I still feel like we can take this set. Now Magic Ruler, or Spell Ruler as it was later called, did you know that Magic the Gathering sued over this pack name? Contained a lot of cards that changed this game in fundamental, transformative, and interesting ways. We are not going to see that today. For a period of about 2 weeks, there existed a format full of decks that you see before you. Decks including Triple Delinquent Duo, Triple Confiscation, and Triple the Forceful Sentry. We'll call this hand control format, but outside of a couple really unfortunate locals, I don't think anyone was ever really subjected to this. Basically, while later in Spell Ruler, really cool burn strategies that include Giant Germ, control strategies that include Nimbles, and general proto-goat good stuff formats start developing. But first, you gotta sit through this. I'm not excited for these games. I think that likely they'll be determined by the die roll. Whoever opens the most hand control will win, and we'll just sort of sit and stare at each other top decking until someone rips a powerful beater. Now, all of that said, I've still constructed a deck that I think will do the best under the circumstances. It's got a lot of cards that win the game on their own. We've got 3 copies of Dark Elf. Format Superstar returns once again, a little bit less powerful now that there's no mechanical chaser in the format, but 4 hits in, especially when our opponent might be taking damage from Delinquent Duos, could still be good. We're playing 3 copies of Magician of Faith as well, still an extremely powerful card. Gets even better when you introduce a lot of spells that win the game on their own into the format. Imagine duoing into Confiscation, into flip Magician of Faith, into Duo. We've got 2 Sangan, 3 Wall of Illusion, still a little bit suspect. I'll probably shave this in the next episode, but for now I'm still playing it. It's just a way to preserve life points in a format where we may be taking a lot through activations of Dark Elf, Delinquent Duo, and Confiscation, 2 Witch of the Black Forest, and 3 Lodge the Mystical Genie of the Lamp, now the second best beater still remaining. For spells, we're on Change of Heart, 3 copies of Confiscation. It allows you to pay 1,000 to look at your opponent's hand, take a card, and discard it. A Dark Hole, 3 Delinquent Duo, needs no introduction. 2 Heavy Storm, cards like Swords are still very powerful, and Messenger of Peace is actually legal, so there are scenarios in which I'll actually need this. Monster Reborn, Mystical Space Typhoon might seem a little bit suspect because there's not a lot of really playable traps in this format. However, Alex may set his entire hand in order to prevent me from confiscating it, so Mystical Space Typhoon will be, I suppose, a sort of hand control in those scenarios. Pot of Greed, of course, Raigeki. Snatch Steal is at 3. You know, so this is going to be fun. Oh boy. 2 Swords of Revealing Light, 3 Forceful Sentry, and a Mirror Force. In the side deck, we're playing Electric Snake. This seems like a hard counter to hand control. If it's discarded from your hand to the graveyard by the effect of a card controlled by your opponent, you just get to Pot of Greed. However, the only one that really triggers this is Delinquent Duo. Forceful Sentry and Confiscation are choosable, so we'll have to see just how far in on discard Alex is. If they've also got, like, Robin Goblin still, I'll probably board into this. Nimble Mamaga, I suppose if the games need to be slowed down, or I find myself repeatedly low on life points, I will be playing this. Magic Jammer and Solemn Judgment are in here for the same reasons. In games 2 and 3, based on if we're going first or second, I'll be able to determine if I need to either board into things that negate hand destruction or out of hand destruction proper, and Waboku if we need to just go back to playing Beatdown. So that's the deck. Realistically, I've put much less thought into it than my previous builds because this format is going to be trash. I apologize, and thank you for the ad revenue.
Well, it was bound to happen eventually, but here we are wearing the shirt of shame. I gotta admit though, for the shirt of shame, it's actually pretty comfortable, so I'm okay wearing this for one episode, but I don't expect to ever wear this again. And after you see the degenerate mess that we are about to play for this episode, you're going to understand why that might be the case. So, welcome to Magic Ruler, ladies and gentlemen. This was a very interesting period in time, as this was another one of those instances where there was 2 weeks before we got an official ban list. And so you have degenerate cards like Confiscation, Delinquent Duo, Forceful Sentry, all legal at 3 copies. These are some of the most powerful cards throughout Yu-Gi-Oh's history. These cards have been banned for, I can't even tell you how long now. It is just absurd how broken these cards are. We're about to experience it not just playing one-ofs, but at full fucking force. There's probably about a 30 to 40% chance that whoever wins the rock, paper, scissors could just completely rip apart the other player's hand with no interaction and no counterplay. Sounds like a lot of fun, right? Well, I guess that's a lot of modern Yu-Gi-Oh nowadays, but this is one of the reasons why Yu-Gi-Oh needs to have a Forbidden and Limited list, is for when stuff like this happens. Albeit, it doesn't happen nearly as much as it used to, but this is also one of the reasons why once per turn clauses exist. So let's go ahead and do the card by card and explain our strategy for the episode. So we're starting off with 3 Magician of Faith. I know I've been on 2 of this for quite some time, but I feel like if there's an episode to play 3 of it, it is the introduction of Magic Ruler, because the spell power goes through the roof significantly, and just look at the firepower we're playing with here. Magician of Faith has so many prime targets. We are playing 22 spells, and so Magician of Faith is almost always going to be live. I think playing 3 this time is mandatory. 2 Sangan, 2 Witch of the Black Forest. These can search pretty much anything in our deck. They also get to Magician of Faith, which is why I want to max out on these. I'm still on Wall of Illusion. Wall of Illusion doesn't really have many answers, and the thing is, with stuff like Fisher, Dark Hole, Regeki really being the only ways to take care of this, I guess Snatch Steal can take it if it's flipped face up, but there's still very few ways to deal with it. Fisher actually is a way for bigger beaters to be able to survive in the face of Wall of Illusion being up at the same time, and so I feel like that's actually a pretty powerful reason to keep this card. Again, it's debatable, I feel like, but, you know, with stuff like Maneater Bug still potentially being a good swap out for it, there are some other cards that could be played as well. It's really hard to say. Just the power of the spell cards is so immeasurable that it's really difficult to say whether or not this is the right choice, but it fends off pretty much everything, and so I still feel pretty confident playing it. I am playing 4 big beaters, the 3 Lodgin and the 7 Colored Fish. We need to have some sort of win condition, and that's what's kind of weird about this deck, is that apart from ripping apart the other player's hand as fast as possible, we don't really have any other way to win, and so these are going to lower the clock very significantly, and that way we can win over the course of a few turns. For the spells, oh boy, so Change of Heart, 3 Confiscation. At the cost of 1,000 life points, you look at your opponent's hand, select a card, and discard it. And again, no once per turn clauses on any of these, so if we draw multiples, we can just completely dismantle Joseph's hand, and also know what he has in there as well. Dark Hole, 3 Delinquent Duo. This is basically the reverse of Pot of Greed at the cost of 1,000 life points, but frankly, this card is just broken. There's no Sinister Serpent yet. This card is just so unfair. Again, if either of us opens up 2 Delinquent Duo in our opening hand, the game is effectively over from then on out. 3 Fisher, again, I think this is pretty good removal. It's good at getting rid of walls. It's good at getting rid of the beaters. I think this is perfectly fine. The 2 Heavy Storm still, I'm kind of like iffy about this because I don't know if we're going to be playing a lot of traps this time around, but it's still a nice way to just clear the way in case there are any Waboku's, Mirror Forces, Trap Holes. Monster Reborn, Pot of Greed, Regeki, Snatch Steal. This is a little bit weird. You might think Snatch Steal at 3 is insane, but the thing is, we're playing a lot of set defensive monsters here. Magician of Faith, Sangan, Witch of the Black Forest, Wall of Illusion, even like Maneater Bug, right? So Snatch Steal can't take face down monsters. Change of Heart can, however. So Snatch Steal's a little bit worse, but it's good at taking a beater, getting in for some more damage, maybe clearing a path. So I think one of it is just fine. I've got the other two in the side deck just in case. 2 Swords of Revealing Light to slow things down. 3 Forceful Sentry. This is confiscation, except you don't have to pay life points, and you shuffle the card back into their deck instead of it going to the graveyard. So that's also very good because it doesn't interact with Monster Reborn, so it's a little bit better, but you are giving them the resource back, so there's some trade-offs there. But again, if we open multiples, it's just disgusting. For the traps, Mirror Force, and I'm only on triple Woboku this time around because this card I feel like is a good way that if we are going to get ripped apart by the hand control cards, Woboku gives us this like 1-turn reprieve to like not die and then maybe draw into one of our own power cards to get back into it. So I feel like Woboku might actually shine this episode. Trap Hole's a bit weird because it's not really good against this whole top row of monsters here. It's only good against the big beaters. And the thing is, if they already have the beater established, Trap Hole doesn't really do much. So Waboku's pretty much good in every instance. Also in the face of Heavy Storm, it's a way that we can survive the turn and ensure that we're going to see at least one more card. And if that's Pot of Greed, that means we see 2 more, and then the snowballing begins. For the side deck though, again, the 3 Trap Hole, these might come in maybe if I know I'm going first, but for right now, I don't know if that's going to happen, so I want to have them in the side deck. We still have a Dark Elf in here just as another big beater in tandem with 2 more 7-colored fish. 2 Maneater Bug, this is a swap out for like maybe Wall of Illusion, but again, it's really difficult to say. This has such negative interaction with like Witch and Sangan, but it's good at being able to clear stuff like Magician of Faith, so it's like a 50-50 with Maneater Bug if it's good or not. White Magical Hat, honestly, we're playing some sort of hand control deck. I don't know if I want to play these. There's not really proactive ways to deal with cards like the Walls of Illusion, and so I feel like White Magical Hat is very vulnerable, so I don't want to play it necessarily, but it's White Magical Hat. I have to throw it in here somewhere. And then 3 Mystical Space Typhoon. I'm probably not going to side these at all, maybe unless Joseph is on some crazy heavy trap deck, but the thing is, Mystical Space Typhoon's good at 1-for-1ing some of the advantage. We can actually set our own cards then. You can use it reactively when your opponent sets something and then during the end phase pop it. That's pretty cool, but I think Heavy Storm's just better in every instance, and honestly, I don't think we're going to be playing a lot of trap cards. We'll have to see though. So oh boy, this is going to be a colossal clusterfuck of a game, but I know you guys are going to enjoy it. I'm going to enjoy it too. So let's go ahead and get into it. Ladies and gentlemen, it's time to duel.
Well, another week, another format, and wow, Alex, I have to commend you. You have great taste in fashion. You look great in that shirt.
Yeah. I knew you were going to want to just yuck it up over there because I am adorning the shirt of shame. I got to say, it looks better on me than you, but you're going to be wearing it again very shortly. Welcome to Magic Ruler format, Joseph. This is going to be, I got to tell you, this is going to suck. Like, yeah. This is just as I was like talking about this deck, the more it was starting to hit me what we're about to experience. This is going to be a nightmare.
Yeah, thankfully people were never really subjected to this format in any sort of long-term, amount of time. But we're still going to have to suffer through it. And I think a lot is going to depend on the die roll. So best of luck to you. I've done all I can.
Anything for the fans, right? Let's go ahead and... Oh, baby! The die does its work. So I'm going to go ahead and take first, Joseph. I am so sorry, but you better hope I do not open any combination of cards that will automatically win me the game. Oh, I'm so sorry.
Are you ready to go to game 2?
Let's see what I draw for... It's as bad as you think it is. That's where I'm going to start with things. Okay, so I need to properly sequence these cards. So give me one moment here.
Oh yeah, take your time.
I need to start with the Forceful Sentry because I want to start by looking at your hand first.
Well, the good news is that I've drawn a very good hand for going second. There's not a lot of hand destruction in it. But based on the volume of your laughter, I think it's not going to matter.
Okay, so I think the best way to do this, and I could be completely wrong here, I think the best way to do this is, well, I actually don't even think it matters, but I'm going to go ahead and shuffle back.
You're putting a lot of effort into thinking about how you're going to activate 2 delinquent duos as soon as this resolves.
Well, okay, but to be fair, like, Monster Reborn is in play here, so, like, if you happen to either redraw it, or if I don't purposely get rid of Monster Reborn, that's kind of a problem, right? I think I will go ahead and shuffle back La Jin.
All right. Out he comes, and back he goes.
Okay. I'm going to follow that up with a second Forceful Sentry, and I'm going to get rid of the Heavy Storm.
That's interesting. Did you find a way to brew something spicy even in a format this bad?
I'm going to go ahead and Delinquent Duo to rip 2 cards out of your hand.
Sure. So I pick the first, right? Oh, no, I don't pick any of them.
It's random, so I will just roll a die here. We'll hit this one out of your hand.
All right, it's the Snatch Steal. And I guess I will follow that up with the Monster Reborn.
And we're just going to Confiscation the last card out of your hand.
Oh, you gotta be kidding me. All right, that's Yu-Gi-Oh, ladies and gentlemen.
Yep, I will go ahead and just start by setting a monster after all that. And Joseph, good luck.
Okay, so how long does this game have to go for us to get ad revenue? Oh, boy. Well, that's about the best top deck I could have hoped for. This is the most frustrating part about this format, is that even if I survive an onslaught like that, half of my deck is now individual hand destruction cards that do nothing! Alright, we'll set this and pass it back.
Okay, so I will draw now. Oh!
What do you want me to say? What do you want me to say?
I can't believe you conceded!
I hate this game. This game, oh my god, I quit Yu-Gi-Oh! Forever.
Joseph, I'm literally crying over here after that.
Oh man. I break this legendary win streak only to immediately get it flipped because I lost a die roll. This format's terrible.
See, a lot of modern Yu-Gi-Oh! Players might just be correlating this to how, like, the actual game is played. And to be fair, this is just a metaphor for what it's like when your opponent opens combo and you don't open hand traps, right?
Exactly. Yeah, folks, everyone complains in 2020 about how you can use Infernoble Knight Charles to discard 2 cards out of your opponent's hand on the first turn. We've been doing it for decades, folks.
It's just different art. That's all it is.
Well, this time I'll be going first. Hey, good luck to you, buddy.
Uh-oh. Let's see it. I would say good luck, but there's... I don't want you to have good luck, because that means you're just going to completely destroy my hand. So let's see how many hand destruction cards you opened up this time.
Well, I loved your open, man. I really big fan of your open. So I think I'm going to start the same way. We'll begin with a copy of the Forceful Sentry. Let's see what's in that grip of yours.
Here we go.
Oh, see, and here's the best part. This is the best part of playing this format. You're playing cards like Delinquent Duo, and by the time I'm done with my turn, I won't have a card to my name. You know, I think the most worrying thing in this hand to me right now is the Wall of Illusion. So, you can put that back in your deck if you don't mind.
I want you to think about what you just said. The most frightening card in my hand currently of Delinquent Duo, Raigeki, Confiscation, but no, the Wall of Illusion is the threat. That, you know, Wall of Illusion has been like the bane of your existence in this series, but I think this is just a testament to how powerful the card truly is. Wall of Illusion meets no other, Joseph.
I'm glad to see you're still on it. So I still have to worry about the Fissure. Oh, God, who could forget the Fissure? And the Raigeki. I guess I'll go for the Delinquent Duo right now while you have the worst quality of card in your hand.
All right, I will let you go ahead and roll the die to randomly hit one out.
All right, I got a 3, so let's go for this one right here.
That was my Delinquent Duo, and now I get to pick the last one. Now, I'm questioning how much this is actually going to matter. I will just get rid of the Fissure.
All right, the Fissure it is, and now you've got, what, Confiscation plus Raigeki?
Correct.
Well, you know what I'm going to do? I'll take one of those, too.
I appreciate it. Which one would you like to get rid of?
Let me get the Raigeki.
You sure you don't want the Confiscation?
You know what? I did think about it for a while. I feel pretty confident in picking the Raigeki.
Okay, this is anyone's game.
All right, we're gonna set 2 cards, and it's back to you, buddy.
Well, we're gonna have to hope for a pretty good draw here.
No, the confiscation will take you there. Don't worry. The confiscation will save this hand for you.
See, the whole thing with confiscation, though, is that, like, is it even correct to fire it off? Because, yeah, you could have a monster in your hand, I suppose. Like, I think that makes sense. But the thing is, you already fired off all your hand destruction spells. Anything that you wouldn't want me to rip with confiscation, you would just set face down because you know I can't interact with it that way. So, like, what do you possibly have in your hand at this point? I guess that's really the question. I guess what I'm gonna do is just set a card face down and activate Swords of Revealing Light. Go ahead.
Wow, that's miserable. Okay, I'll flip up my Sangan and then draw for turn. Alright, well that's the best top deck in the game. I'll normal summon a Lodgin, the Mystical Genie of the Lamp, and I don't even have to fear Raigeki because I can see it face up in your graveyard!
It's weird. It's like you're able to rip it out yourself.
I'm such a skilled player.
I will go ahead and draw. That is turn 1 on Swords. I'm going to go ahead and normal summon a copy of Lodgin myself.
Interesting. Ooh, this puts me in a very weird position, because if you walk into Sangan, you can get what I take with confiscation.
So I'm going to go ahead and go to battle phase, and we're going to see if that happens.
I will send the Sangan to the graveyard. Let's go grab ourselves a copy of Wall of Illusion.
Okay. We don't like that. So main phase 2, I guess this will be the time to fire off confiscation.
Cimo, I've got great news for you.
Do you have...
I've got 2 Walls of Illusion!
You know, I deserve that. After what happened last time, I deserve that. I'm gonna specifically pick this one.
All right, that is my favorite of the Wall of Illusions, so you picked correctly.
I'm glad that that was the case. I will pass the turn.
All right, I'm gonna set a copy of Wall of Illusion, set a copy of Solemn Judgment, and pass back to you.
That is turn 2 on Swords. I'm gonna go ahead and... Oh boy, this is kind of awkward. I suppose I'll fire off this Fissure.
It's crusty, but it gets the job done.
I will just pass. I know you have Wall, so there's no point for me to attack.
How do you know I have Wall? Are you cheating? Have you stacked the deck?
Maybe, you know, it's just an inkling, I suppose. Swords has expired, and we're still in quite a predicament. I do enjoy that you're setting all of your back row, and I really hope that I just rip Heavy Storm.
If you rip Heavy Storm, I will be absolutely punished, but I think it's more likely you rip one of the 9 pieces of removal.
That's what's so weird about this format, is like, do you want to lose to Heavy Storm, or do you want to lose to the 9 hand destruction cards that are in our deck?
All right, now that Swords is gone, let's put the screws on you. I'm going to take this Lodge in.
Sure, that will be fine.
And, you know what? I don't really know how much I have to... Could I even change the Wall of Illusion to attack position? That's probably the stupidest thing I could do.
Which is why you should do it.
It's so funny, though. Okay, realistically, you're on a very low monster count. It does have a very noticeable impact on the clock. I have you on a 2-turn clock if I start hitting with Wall immediately. That's not true because I have to get through the set monster. Let's do that now. I'm going to go Dark Elf to get over your Wall of Illusion and take 1,000 in the process.
That was my Witch of the Black Forest, so you did miss out on the potential damage with the wall, and watch, you're going to lose by 1,000 life points by the end of this.
It could happen. You're about to gain a ton. I'll get in with Lodgin as well once you are done selecting.
You've got a couple back row, which is kind of concerning. I'm going to go ahead and take
Alex,
Magician of Faith.
Let me help you speed things along here. Don't sweat what you're going to get.
Because it's going to get right out of my hand. Yep.
Yeah, just back of the deck, please.
Back it goes.
All right, good luck to you, buddy.
Okay, I'm going to shuffle the deck to ensure that it's shuffled this time, because apparently I have issues doing that. Standby phase, I'm actually going to gain 1,000 life points from Snatch Steal here.
Broken.
That is an interesting draw, but I don't know what exactly it does. I am going to set a card face down and pass the turn.
Well, I hope that you start drawing your hand destruction cards soon. Ooh, that's a really cringe draw from me. All right, so if I get in with Lodgin and Dark Elf here, I do 38, an additional 1,000 if I get in with Wall. You're going to gain another 1,000, so effectively you're at 72. So it won't change the math until next turn, unless you rip a monster, in which case it probably still doesn't change the math. You know what? It's funny. It puts me dead to Heavy Storm, or not Heavy Storm. It puts me dead to Mirror Force, but I am going to flip summon Wall of Illusion and start attacking.
Sure about this,
with wall.
Joseph?
Yeah, I'm sure.
I'll let the wall go through.
Oh, you'll let the wall go through. I can't wait for you to flip golden apples on my big attacker.
I'll take it all. You will take 1,000 from attacking with your Dark Elf, though.
All right, and good luck to you, buddy.
Let's see what we get. Ooh. Interesting. Standby phase, I will gain 1,000. Is it gonna matter, though? You also have a set card, so this could also not matter in the slightest. I feel like you have me dead to rights here, but I'm really just looking for any way to keep alive. You've got that face down, which can probably throw an entire wrench in this plan, so let's try our best. We'll see what happens, and if it doesn't work out, then that's just how it's got to be. Okay, I'm gonna go ahead and flip up the good old change of heart.
Oh, wow. We are going there. All right, which of these monsters would you like?
It's a very tough decision, as a matter of fact. I think I'm going to take my La Jinn back.
Yeah, that sounds correct.
I'm going to go to battle phase, and I'm going to attack into your Wall of Illusion.
I'll take the 800, and that La Jinn will return to your hand.
It will. Main phase 2, I'm going to activate Monster Reborn.
Interesting.
Bring back Wall of Illusion. And hope to God you can't kill me. Go ahead.
Well, that is actually really frustrating for me. If I attack into the Wall of Illusion, I'm taking 1,000. You can summon the La Jinn. I can resummon the Dark Elf, but there are cards that win you the game from this position.
There are several, yes.
How have we gotten here? I took 5 cards out of your hand the first turn. Oh, God. All right. I am going to walk into the Wall of Illusion. I'll take 1,000 here.
Okay.
All right, and back to the hand she goes. Main phase 2, I'll normal summon the Dark Elf, and just as a little bit of added insurance, I am going to fire off this Swords of Revealing Light.
I think that's perfectly acceptable given the circumstances. Let's go ahead and set and pass.
All right, that's 1 on Swords. I'll draw for turn. Any beater, buddy. Ooh, that's a fantastic one. We'll normal summon the La Jinn.
Sure.
And let's walk into... there's no way you drew a Wall of Illusion. It's 100% the La Jinn, but I'm a baby, and I will attack with the Dark Elf first.
Well, I'm happy to know that the bait worked. It was just a set copy of La Jinn.
We'll
I'll
get
take
in
it.
for all but 6, and good luck, buddy.
Yeah, we're going to need a big one here. I don't think that's going to do it. I'll pass the turn.
I will draw 2 on Swords, and let's see if we can do it.
I fortunately have the Waboku, so I will be surviving another turn.
All right, go for it.
See what we get. I don't think that's going to do it. Let's see what you had in your hand here. I'll just fire off Forceful Sentry.
It's a bunch of cards that are actively bad for me. And the Delinquent Duo set.
At this point, I could normal summon La Jinn and crash, but you have... I was trying to see if I could get you under that threshold where you couldn't pay for Dark Elf to attack, but I was just 200 shy of that happening, so looks like we're going to game 3. Joseph, how do you feel knowing that your fate in whether or not you have to readorn the Shirt of Shane solely relies on what my opening hand looks like?
I'm not feeling great. However, in that first game, I didn't draw any pieces of hand destruction. So it is possible. You've only got 9 of them. That said, every one of those 9 functionally wins you the game. So here's hoping.
Yep, we're going to see what happens. Good luck, buddy. You're going to need it this time.
Ooh.
You know, that might be one of the best things that could have happened to you.
This hand is really something.
I have a Delinquent Duo.
Okay.
I'm just going to start by firing this off. Of course, I hit the number that is not equal to the number of cards in your hand. Twice.
Good news so far.
We're going to hit this one.
It is Dark Elf. That's the one I wanted the most.
It was solely manipulating the RNG. That's what was happening.
I think I'm
With
gonna
that
send
said... Oh, you have to
Euroforce?
finish... I forgot, Delinquent Duo sends 2 cards. This card's broken. I will then go ahead and just set a monster and set 1, set 2, and I will pass to you.
This is such a weird position because those 2 set cards could be really powerful chainable stuff like Waboku, could be Mirror Force. It also could just be like cards you don't want me to hit. Raigekis, Dark Holes, Fissures even.
I will say the interesting like interplay of like having to set these types of cards versus keep them in your hand makes for some interesting arguments at the very least.
All right, I'm going to do the exact same thing and then pass it back to you.
Okay. I will draw for turn. I don't know if I like that. Well, I'm going to start by flipping this Magician of Faith to grab this Delinquent Duo back.
I see.
I was really hoping that you might get stuck on more monsters and that I could be able to easily buy that back. I'm going to go ahead and fire off a Dark Hole.
Dark Hole this board. All right, it's a Sangan. I'm going to activate the effect of Sangan.
That is fine.
And I think what I will add to my hand is a copy of Electric Snake.
Oh my god, you are
Enjoy
playing
your
this
delinquent
garbage.
duo, fool!
Playing this garbage. Wow.
Certainly is coming in handy right now.
I'm gonna normal summon Witch of the Black Forest and attack you for 11.
Oh, I will absolutely take the 11.
So this has been your way to mitigate my hand destruction now.
A way to turn off the best card in your deck? Absolutely. Oh, I was hoping I would get a chance to show this off because it's so bad otherwise.
It's interesting, though, because it's only specifically good against Delinquent Duo and miserably bad against all the other hand destruction cards.
There are scenarios in which you like Confiscation, the last card in my hand, but yes, by and large, it's only being used against Delinquent Duo.
Now, this is
Fire
a weird
enough,
one
buddy.
because...
Cycle my hand for me.
See, that's the weird thing. Now, do I want to keep this in my hand and then, like, you rip it out of my hand? Am I okay with that? I guess that's fine. Sure, go ahead.
I'll draw for turn. Ooh. So I'm gonna normal summon a Lodgin.
Sure.
Sure, he says. I'll go to the battle phase, I suppose.
I'm gonna flip up Waboku.
Waboku is fine with me.
Okay.
Well, now I'm in a similar position. How much do I really want that card out of your hand? I think you can keep it.
Thank you so much. Such a pal.
And just for the record, I'd really prefer if you kept another one in there as well.
Exactly. And that's one of the things that I feel like I kind of got punished by not setting it because I could have let you kill Witch. So I'm going to switch this Witch to defense, and then I'm actually going to set both of the cards in my hand, and I will pass the turn.
All right, I will draw. Ooh, a very interesting one for me. All right, we are going to, I don't know, battle phase?
This still has the same issue that if you have any of the other hand destruction cards, you just rip whatever I search anyway.
Yes, how interesting.
I'll let it go.
All right.
If you have it, you have it. At least I'm playing around potentially one of them, but if you have the others, there's like not much I can do about it, so.
Do you want to get Electric Snake?
Yeah, I'll pass. I suppose I shall grab myself a Sangan. Feel free to rip it out of my hand.
I will do so. Let's go ahead and confiscate that bad boy.
Chirp.
And, you've already activated a Dark Hole. I refuse to respect Raigeki. I'm gonna set one card, and I'll pass it back to you.
That is fine. Well, I will just pass the turn.
Sounds good to me. I'll draw for turn. Ooh, that's odd. I'm going to normal summon a Dark Elf.
That will be met with my Trap Hole.
Okay, sounds good. So we know one of the two set cards is a Delinquent Duo. I don't know how seriously I'm going to take that very last card. I don't think very seriously at all, if I'm being honest. So, doing math real quick, I am going to activate Monster Reborn. Do you have a Magic Jammer
Sure.
by any chance?
I do not, at least not now.
Let's get that Dark Elf, and we will walk into your Mirror Force very, very gladly.
I will take the 18.
All right, I'll get in with the 2K, take my 1,000.
I will also take the 2K.
All right, and you are good to go, my friend.
Let's draw. It's not bad. We'll just Fisher the Lodgin.
And down he goes.
And I think I will just pass the turn.
And we'll draw. Ooh, that's very interesting. Yeah, I mean, why not? What's the punish here? Exactly Waboku? It'd have to be the one card, because we know the other's Delinquent Duo. I'm going to fire off a Heavy Storm.
It is, in fact, the Waboku.
Ah, unfortunate. But not that big of a deal. I will pass turn from this position.
It's more unfortunate because I wish you would have paid the 1,000 life points, but, you know,
I bet.
we have to do what we can do. I'm going to set 2 cards face down and pass to you.
I will draw. It's got to be exactly Mirror Force. Even Waboku doesn't do it, I don't think. I mean, yeah, it's got to be exactly Mirror Force. All right, let's see exactly Mirror Force. Down comes Electric Snake, and we're going to make a lethal push.
You got it. I'll give it to you.
Whoa! 2 in a row, baby! Best format in the history of time. Electric Snake for the win. Blanks the Delinquent Duo.
In my head, I was thinking to myself, I'm like, okay, if I Forceful Sentry Electric Snake, because that actually plays around it. Because I know Electric Snake is actually just a monster with like a somewhat reasonable amount of attack, like at least compared to like...
800.
Right, exactly. So I'm thinking to myself, I'm like, okay, if he has Magician of Faith set, although to be fair, you would have like flipped that up probably a lot quicker, but
right.
Magician of Faith being set actually isn't lethal. So part of me was thinking, I'm like, do I Forceful Sentry the Electric Snake out of your hand so you don't... Was this another monster, or did you have to summon Electric Snake?
It's just a snatch steal. These were dead the whole game.
So the interesting thing is, had I done that, I actually wouldn't have died. So maybe that was a misplay. What would my next draw have been? Oh, that's well, I would have died the following turn then anyway, so it wouldn't have mattered. Snatch Steal's a very interesting card in this format because on the surface, you hear 3 Snatch Steal, and you think it's the most broken thing on the planet. But in reality, it's really not, because we play a lot of just set monsters, and Snatch Steal can't really interact with them. It's fine when you're in like a position that you're on the beatdown, but I think I only played like 1 or 2 copies of it, just because I felt like we already have Change of Heart, which can take set monsters, so that's kind of better, even though Snatch Steal keeps it. I don't know. Snatch Steal in this format particularly is a little bit weird.
I want to make fun of you for playing less than 3 Snatch Steal, but honestly, I think it might be right. How good is Snatch Stealing something like a Witch of the Black Forest, for example? That's the position I found myself in, like, 3 or 4 times this set. Oh, we're getting in for net 100, but in response, we're doing so with the most weak monster in the history of time, and if it eats a removal spell, you get to get a sweet 2-for-1. I don't know, it really does only seem okay. Certainly this format's superstars are all the hand trap stuff, the hand destruction spells, but the individual monsters that win the game on their own, the Dark Elves, the Lodgin, seemed to matter more than pretty much anything else.
To be fair, had I known you were on Electric Snake, I wouldn't have made that Dark Hole play in the initial stages. So I'm like, oh, easy. He probably set one of the searchers. He'll just get his search, and I just rip apart his whole hand. And then here comes fucking Electric Snake, and then that's the end of that plan. And to be fair, was that the reason that I lost? Maybe. But like in this particular position, Dark Hole would have been pretty good. So maybe I was just a little bit trigger happy by firing that off. But like I really didn't have much going for me apart from that. I think the rest of my hand was like Witch, Waboku, and like Delinquent Duo. So like I didn't really know what else I was really supposed to do at that point, so I figured that was probably my best shot. I don't know. It was a weird one.
Exactly how I drew it up. No, in testing, Electric Snake was terrible. A miserable card that only comes up when your opponent is on a line where they're looping Delinquent Duo exactly, but I thought it would just be so funny if it went off, and realistically, I do think it made it impact that game. The other card in hand was Lodgin, and of course, I had to keep that.
Yeah. No, that would have made a huge difference, because had you not been on Snake, Delinquent Duo would have ripped out Lodgin out of your hand, and then whatever other card, the Sangan search, so then I would have blanked that. And then, do you remember your draw for that turn specifically?
I don't. We can go back and check. I know the only real other access to beater, it might have been the wall. The only other access to beater that I have is a Dark Elf, but only by virtue of a Monster Reborn.
Yeah, because I'm trying to think, because then at that point, if you would have had Wall of Illusion set, then like Fisher could have maybe killed the wall. It also could have maybe killed Dark Elf, so like that would have just been another resource that Delinquent Duo could have denied you. So the Electric Snake, even though it didn't actually go off, I know your dream was for me to open, just rip your whole hand, and then you were going to Electric Snake me to Pot of Greed again. That was what you initially wanted, I know.
Yeah,
but just acting as a deterrent for that specific scenario was actually very beneficial for you, and I think that may have won you the game, in all honesty.
Hilarious. I will say there was one turn that was pretty sus in which I heavy stormed a known non-Mirror Force because it was so juicy you would have activated it the previous turn, popping my own Snatch Steal. But really, near the end of the game, I just stopped valuing Snatch Steal. I was like, this is the worst card remaining in the deck, and we kept drawing multiple copies. I mean, might as well send them to the graveyard.
This format is horrible. I would not recommend anyone play this.
No, it's rough because, you know, you go back and look at old YouTube profiles, and there's a robust community of people who occasionally dabble in Spell Ruler, Magic Ruler, whatever you want to call it, format. There's a lot of interesting decks with a ton of different styles of gameplay. But for these 2 weeks, this is really all you can play.
Right. You basically just had to play hand control lock the deck, and that was it. And to be fair, when we get to our next episode, which is going to be Magic Ruler post-ban list, which again happened 2 weeks after, we also have the introduction of Tournament Pack 2, I believe, which means Morphing Jar enters the fray, another several $100 card at the ultra rare slot. But nonetheless, thank you, digital platforms, for us not having to pay for any of it. But in any case, it's going to shift things up significantly, because all of these cards that you witnessed Joseph and I playing in this game go down to a single copy. Snatch Steal goes to 1, Confiscation goes to 1, Forceful Sentry goes to... I'm pretty sure they all go to 1. I'm sure when I actually get to the episode, I'll probably have missed something, but I'm fairly certain most of these cards go to 1 copy, which then they become sacky, yes, but it doesn't become the sack fest you saw in the game 1 of this episode, which probably should never have been allowed in the first place, but it is what it is.
Certainly I'll be playing less copies of Electric Snake in the sideboard. No, Tournament Pack 2 is such a fantastic addition to the card pool. Empty Jar doesn't exist yet, but the bones of it are there. You've got like Cyber Jar and Morphing Jar, and a ton of decks that loop stuff like Giant Germ and Just Desserts to do burn damage. I'm super excited to see what we come up with next time.
Yeah, there's going to be so many more strategies that we can really implement. We're starting to get like the skeleton of burn even, which is because I think we have Messenger of Peace in Magic Ruler as well.
Yep.
So there could be like these slow stally control decks or even these burn strategies. Magic Ruler, you know, a lot of people like say how Metal Raiders had a big impact on the game, and it did. I'm not taking anything away from it. I think Magic Ruler's impact was far more devastating because when you kind of look at how many cards are banned out of Metal Raiders versus Magic Ruler, I think Magic Ruler wins that fight.
I mean, God, there's Painful Choice. There's just so much that's just removed from the card pool entirely. I will tell you, though, I'm going to be playing Relinquish Turbo, and none of you can stop me.
I do find it very interesting, though, how some of the cards that we consider to be just some of the most broken cards in Yu-Gi-Oh's history are actually, at the time, not that good. We already discussed Snatch Steal, but you mentioned Painful Choice. Initially, when Painful Choice came out, it was pretty lackluster. Painful Choice didn't really become popular. Right. That's like maybe where you're going to get most of your value. I mean, obviously, when you get to like Pharaoh's Servant, Premature Burial, Call of the Haunted come into the fray as well. But until we start to get to like Chaos, that's where Painful Choice really starts to shine, just because you get so much value off of the effect, where now it's just kind of fine, I guess. Compared to these cards, it's not even close.
Yeah, of course. Aside from that, the quality of card that we get just drastically improves. You know, we were playing Reinforcements, well, now we've got Rush Recklessly, right? We were playing potentially Sword of Dark Destruction, now we've got Axe of Despair and Horn of the Unicorn. Like, any of the fringe decks from the last couple of formats are now realer than they have ever been, and I'm excited to see if we can make any of them work.
I definitely think this episode, or at least this third game, was karma for game one, and Wall of Illusion staring me down. It looks like it has betrayed me and is now on your side, so we'll have to see if that trend continues. Yeah, I don't know if Wall of Illusion's even going to make the cut anymore, but
She's not sticking around, no.
I'm actually impressed that Wall of Illusion has managed to stay in our decks for this many episodes. I would not have guessed that if you had like told me this like 6 years ago when we were going to create this series, that Wall of Illusion was this impactful of a card.
I will reveal one more thing before I stop gushing about this terrible format. My very first Yu-Gi-Oh card that I ever got in my entire life, out of a McDonald's, a Pizza Hut vending machine even, was a single copy of Electric Snake.
Really? Was it?
I couldn't pass it up.
Oh my God. Sentimental value. That's what this series is all about. But guys, thank you so much for watching. We really hope you enjoyed the episode. We do have to shout out our patrons, as always, for supporting us over on Patreon. So big shout outs to Sharkman, Gray Lane, Mystic Walk, Michael Dente, Joshua Wiley, Sylvia Wilds, Oli, Tim 000X3, Pony Stark, Thomas Nelson, Kel of Devils, The Astro Wolf, Emil Cohen, Adam Evans, Jarvis Martin, Dolly Wop, The G-Man 99, Matthew Fehrenbacher, Logan Thomas, Peter Gregory, Dragon Lord GW, and Draconic. Thank you guys so much for all of your support. We can't do it without you. Hashtag Team Cimo, hashtag Team MBT. MBT's climbing up the ladder, and I am going to be stuck in the shirt of shame for one more episode, but that'll be the last time that happens. Guys, thank you so much for watching the video, and we'll see you next time.